Kunjabihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabihari Gopijana Vala Girivardhari Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Prajāpati Dakṣa Yashodanandana Prajāpati Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabihari Jayam Vishwabad Hamsa Parivajikacharya Ashtotara Shatashi Shrimad's Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vāsudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vāsudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vāsudevaya. Sixth Canto, Prescribed Duties for Mankind, Chapter 5, Nārada Muni cursed by Prajāpati Dakṣa. Text 40. Netam bumsam vairāgya syat tvaya kevalina mrisha manyase yadi upashramam sneha pasha nikrintanam Netam pumsam vairāgya syat tvaya kevalinamrisha manyasyadyapishamam sneha pasha nikrintanam netam pumsam viragasyat tvaya kevalinamrisha manyase yad upashamam sneha pasha nikrintanam netam pumsam viragasyat tvaya kevalinamrisha manyase yad upashamam sneha pasha nikrintanam Okay. Hare Krishna. Na, not, itam, in this way, pumsam, of persons, vairāgya, renunciation, syat, is possible, tvaya, by you, kevalinamrisha, possessing knowledge falsely, manyase, you think, yadi, if, upashamam, renunciation of material enjoyment, sneha pasha, the bonds of affection, nikrintanam, cutting. Translation and commentary by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Prajāpati Dakṣa continued, if you think that simply awakening the sense of renunciation will detach one from the material world, I must say that unless full knowledge is awakened, simply changing dresses as you have done cannot possibly bring detachment. Purport. Prajāpati Dakṣa was correct in stating that changing one's dress cannot detach one from this material world. The sannyasis of Kali Yuga who change their robes from white to saffron and then think that they can do whatever they like are more abominable than materialistic grihastas. This is not recommended anywhere. Prajāpati Dakṣa was right in pointing out this defect. But he did not know that Nārada Muni had aroused the spirit of renunciation in the Haryashvas and Shavalashvas through full knowledge. Such enlightened renunciation is desirable. One should enter the renounced order with full knowledge, jñāna vairāgya. For the perfection of life is possible for one who renounces this material world in that way. This elevated stage can be reached very easily as supported by the statements of Srimad Bhagavatam 1-7. Vāsudeva Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojataha Janat Yashu Vairāgyam Jnanam Cha Yad Ahoitakam. By rendering devotional service unto the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, one immediately acquires causeless knowledge and detachment from the world. If one seriously engages in devotional service to Lord Vāsudeva, jñāna and vairāgya are automatically manifest in one's person. There's no doubt of this. Prajāpati Dakṣa's accusation that Nārada had not actually elevated his sons to the platform of knowledge was not factual. All the sons of Prajāpati Dakṣa had first been raised to the platform of jñāna and had then automatically renounced this world. In summary, unless one's knowledge is awakened, renunciation cannot take place. For without elevated knowledge, one cannot give up attachment for material enjoyment. Om Gyanadivadandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshulanmaditamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Makam Kadivavachalam Bhangam Langai Tegirim Yakutam Aham Bande Shri Gurundini Taradam Vacha Kapadarbishya Kripasanabhavacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Translation again. Prajāpati Dakṣa continued, if you think that simply awakening the sense of renunciation will detach one from the material world, I must say that unless full knowledge is awakened, simply changing dresses as you have done cannot possibly bring detachment. So if a person is put in a particular position, any position, then it doesn't mean that automatically that they will be able to, you could say, act within the confines or the rules or the general behavior of that position. They may be able to do it for some time, but unless they're qualified or unless you could say there's a transformation of their heart, at least in terms of following basic some moral principles, then that nature will come out. And this way, that way, some way. And that we see, it's if you're living in a brahmacharya ashram, you see people they come, and it's not so easy to live within the confines of the rules and regulations, different behaviors, etiquette, so on. And they just, their old nature, or you could say their present nature, that they're trying to hold back, comes out. Just like one of my friends, he was saying he was living in a temple in America, and one brahmachari was sweeping the floor. He was sweeping the floor, like kind of calmly, kind of sweeping the floor. And he was a regular person. He wasn't insane or anything like that. He was living in the temple. So, of course, sometimes people are insane living in the temple, but for some time. But anyways, he was sweeping. And then all of a sudden, he just grabbed the broom and he just threw it to the ground, like really violently and like really hard. He just like threw it to the ground. And my friend, he was recalling to me, he said, I was just shocked. I was going, what on earth is going on? Because just like, very calmly, and all of a sudden just, and then the temple president told him, oh, don't worry. He said, that's just material desires. He's just dealing with material desires. Anyways, so, or like Prabhupada gives the example, if someone may be going on a pilgrimage, he gives the example that a man who is a thief by nature went on a pilgrimage, and he went with all types of, with different pilgrims, And they stopped at a particular place, and it's time to take rest at night, and they have one of those kind of what are those rooms, like a dharmashala type of thing, where they house traveling pilgrims and they feed them and everything. But it's kind of like an open room, like this temple room, open room. So it's time to take rest, and everybody's laying on the ground and just and their suitcases are there, and then this man who's accustomed to be a thief, and everybody's sleeping, then he gets up, and it's nighttime, so. And there's not much stuff outside to kind of go around, and he's trying to control his thievery mentality. So then what he does is he starts getting everybody's suitcases, and he gets one there and he moves it over here, and he gets another one there and he moves it, and he's just moving it all night long. Because the still stuff means you see it in one spot, you take it and you move it to your spot. You move it. You see it in somebody's front yard, like a nice bicycle, for example. You cut the chain, you take it from their yard, and you bring it to your house. This is moving stuff, right? So the thief was saying, okay, I got to move stuff. I got to, So he was stealing he was changing all the stuff like that. And then everybody got up and said, oh, what happened, and why is it like this? And then he said, I'm sorry, I'm actually a thief by nature, but I'm trying to control myself, so I didn't steal anybody's things, I was just moving it around. So we see that the nature will come out in different ways. So simply by changing a white dress to saffron dress, if one is not purified, specifically it's mentioned here sannyasis, if they're not purified, then they may be able to put on a show, more or less, for some time, but then the nature comes out. Their nature will come out. But whatever it is, if someone is, whatever particular position is, whether brahmachari, grihastha, vanaprastha, sannyas, or whatever, if they don't have a transformation of heart, they cannot represent, you could say, the Vedas, the Vedic teachings. They cannot follow for very long. So therefore, the idea is that for a sannyasi especially, Prabhupada says the sannyasis of Kali Yuga, they're more abominable than the materialistic grihastas, because they just put on saffron, they say, oh, I could do whatever I want. I could just do whatever I want. This is not, this is abominable, Prabhupada says. So Prajāpati Dakṣa was right in pointing out this defect. You say, oh, you just changed their dress, and now you think they're qualified. These are all young men, and they're my sons, and they're supposed to be propagating, or they're supposed to be procreating here, and you just messed everything up, and now you're just changing their dress. So, and you think it's that easy? Just you change your dress, and then you're qualified? No, it's not so easy. And he's saying that you have to have knowledge. But he did not know that Nārada Muni had aroused the spirit of renunciation through full knowledge. So it's not that Nārada Muni just said, oh, forget your father, he doesn't know what he's talking about, come with me, you'll have a good time. We'll travel the world and, what is it called, banquet circuit, right? Have all types of nice prasadam and attend all the kirtans and, right? And you'll have a good old time, right? Let your sika down, let your sika fly in the air, right? They have that kind of saying, because what you do is, where that comes from is you're driving your convertible or whatever, and you have your hair is kind of tied up, so that you untie your hair and you're driving the convertible, and then you put your head out the window like this, and you let the air fly, you know. So let your sika down, you untie your sika, put your head out like this, and, you know, traveling, I'm free, right? So he didn't say that. Narada Muni's not a he's not a mixed devotee, or he's not a mundane. There's no tinge of mundane contamination within him. So his traveling and preaching is for Krishna's pleasure and for the benefit of the and his spiritual master's pleasure and the pleasure of and the benefit of the souls. So he didn't tell these boys, just join me, you'll have a good time. When the Radha Damodar bus party was going through America, which was amazing actually, until up into that point and after that point, there hasn't been such a program. But they had like 10 or something like that Greyhound buses that they made into temples, and then they had about 20 vans, and they were going, and these were just full of devotees, brahmacharis, sannyasis, and they were traveling all around America, and they would stop and they'd have Festival of India everywhere. They'd have a nice makeshift stage type thing, and they would do kirtan, and they would distribute prasadam, and they would distribute books, and then they would get people to join their party. There was one person here in San Diego, actually, I read about that. He was a surfer here in San Diego, and Tamal Krishna Goswami was here at the time, and they were preaching here, Radha Damodar was preaching in San Diego, the party. And he was really like preaching to this guy like really strong, like really trying to convince him, just like, hey, give up your job, give up your girlfriend, give up this nonsense, just give it all up and join us, and you'll have the best time of your life. So traveling all over the country, chanting Hare Krishna, visiting all the different temples, you'll have a great time. So the guy was like, it wasn't so hard, it wasn't so easy to get out of Tamal Krishna Goswami's, to reject what he's saying. You know, he's a very convincing person, very strong, convincing person. So this person was just on the verge of joining. He said he's like preaching to him all night for like hours. And then talking really loud in the kitchen, huh? Yeah, so then he managed to convince him. And this boy got on the bus, big Greyhound Radha Damodar bus. And then his girlfriend came out, and she was there, and you know, and then they just closed the door, and they drove away. Hare Krishna. They just closed the door and they just drove away. And he said he didn't come back to San Diego, 30 years until 30 years later. He was still a devotee, and 30 years later he came back, and he was just recalling all that. I'm not sure, actually. He's one of the persons who joined the Radha Damodar from San Diego. I'm not sure. But yeah, he said he had a great time, and, those were, I'm sure, speaking with him, he'll say those are the best days of his life. So ecstatic, right? Anyways, so Narada Muni, he was preaching to them, okay, just join, right? Just join this style of life, join this ashram, become like a sannyasi, join. Just give up this idea of your father. But it was, again, it was aroused, the spirit of renunciation in the heart and in the sons through full knowledge. So those of us who want to be renounced, which should be all devotees actually, vairāgya vidya nija bhakti yoga shikshartam ekam purusham purana Shri Krishna Chaitanya Shriradari. Yeah. So Lord Chaitanya, he's coming to vairāgya vidya to teach detachment from everything that doesn't foster Krishna consciousness, knowledge, vairāgya vidya nija bhakti yoga, devotion to himself, this ancient person has come again, who's a ocean of mercy, or very merciful, right? For a basin. Yeah, ocean of mercy. So it's not that Lord Chaitanya said, well, I'm just teaching detachment to my sannyasi devotees, or my brahmachari devotees, which is historically, there's always been more grihasta devotees than brahmacharis or sannyasis. So it's not that Lord Chaitanya came to teach detachment for the brahmacharis and sannyasis, but he came to teach detachment for everyone. Means detached from Maya, from Maya's tricks and illusions and all that, but attached to Krishna, attached to kirtan, attached to reading, attached to hearing, attached to preaching, attached to deity service, attached. There's so many things, that positive things we could be attached to in Krishna consciousness, and they're real and they're blissful. Rather than being attached to all types of Maya things, which are temporary and seemingly blissful. Just give it a little time. So yeah, he's teaching detachment, but this detachment has to be based in knowledge. It has to be based in knowledge. One should enter the renounced road with full knowledge. For the perfection of life is possible for one who renounces this material world in that way. So, if we renounce it in knowledge, then perfection is possible. We have to renounce it in knowledge. So therefore, we have so many classes, we have so many readings, we're stressing, reading, Srila Prabhupada's books and hearing and so on, so on, so on, because that helps us awaken knowledge. And therefore, when somebody reads, they should really read. They should be attentive and think about it. Not be a potato, but really think about it. And when they're hearing class, they should really try to think about it and see how they could benefit. Because a person could be around hearing or reading for years, but how much are they actually reading and hearing? I don't know, 5%, 20%, 80% sometimes 100, sometimes like not. They're just thinking about something else. So, but the more we could really be attentive, the more we get the benefit. Recently, when we took the little trip up there to Bay Area, it was kind of raining. We started driving up there, it was raining, and then throughout the time there was some rain, and then there was some hail, and actually some little snow kind of going towards there, and then coming back raining. And I mean, I really don't like driving when it's raining. I don't like being in a car when it's raining, because there's all those what do you call, hydroplaning, like the puddles of the water. It's just like and people get scared when it's raining. They don't know how to drive, and there's all this stuff. So somehow or other, though. But usually, anyways. But I was okay, fine, whatever. So I wasn't thinking about it. We were just going there and coming back. But when we were driving there, we saw some temple, Hindu temple. So I asked the devotees if they want to stop. They said yes. So I said okay. We stopped and checked it out. It's a very beautiful temple, just ornate, millions of dollars, millions upon millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars, like a lot of money. And it's super ornate. The whole outside of it is ornate. I mean, just like hand-carved and super detailed. And inside it is even more hand-carved and super detailed. Like every inch of the whole room is just some hand-carved masterpiece. So yeah, it was beautiful. And you could see why it cost so much money. But like, what is their understanding of the Vedas? And they don't really have much understanding. They don't really stress the Bhagavad Gita. They don't stress the Bhagavatam. In their gift shop, they have no commentaries of Bhagavad Gita or the Bhagavatam. There was many. Well, there's Shiva and Parvati and others, and then there was Ramchandra, and then there's Krishna, and so there's others. And some of their acharyas were also up there on the altar with Krishna. Yeah. So it's like, and then what's their educational program? In other words, people go there, and it's not that they're actually, you could say they may be benefiting by seeing the form of Krishna, or they are benefiting from seeing Ramchandra and Krishna, right? There's some benefit there. But you get a bunch of tourists and people, and even the Hindus going there. What benefit are they getting? In the sense, there's no education there. There's no stress on education, and even if there is stress on education, they're educating wrongly. Oh, we're all God, this Acharya is God. Well, it's like, okay, well, where is he in the Bhagavatam? Oh yeah, you don't read the Bhagavatam, but where is he in the Vedic literature? He's not there. And then people just go there and just, they take pictures of themselves, selfies and all this stuff. And yeah, I mean, I could understand it's a beautiful place. Okay, fine. Better take a selfie there than somewhere else. But still, it's like, I was thinking, if we had such a big temple with so ornate, I was thinking the benefit, you could say the main benefits of that, having such a big temple, is that a devotee could sit out in front with a book table and all day long have tourists and guests and people come in there, and they could distribute Prabhupada's books. Of course, not everybody would take them, but a lot of people would take them. That would be one of the main benefits of having such a big temple. But Dvijamani Prabhu, he offered the gift shop guy a book, and the guy bought it. So it was good. So yeah, it's like, so as followers of Srila Prabhupada, we always want to be careful that the structure is here, right? Or you could say the externals are here, but we want to be careful that the substance or that the essence is not lost. I say, okay, well, I'm also building big temples, and I'm moving men, and I'm moving money, and I'm doing well in so many regards. But that Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he says, you have to. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says you always have to wear that. We always have to wear that around our neck. Trinadapi Sunichana, because it means we should be humble as a blade of grass, as tall as a tree, offer all respects to others, expect no respect in return. In such a state, one could chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. So we have to always have that there, because that's, you could say, the essence. And not having that, or not making that a priority, or not making that, not seeing that as important, and not always trying to be like that, that means the essence is being lost, and it's like sand in the sweet rice. You may have ahimsa milk from protected cows, and it's cooked very nicely with organic fine rice and organic fine sugar, offered with great love and devotion by a great devotee of Krishna to Radhagiri Dari. It's just wonderful preparation, right? Big festival day, everybody's been fasting. But if there's sand in the sweet rice, then the whole thing's messed up. Yeah, that is how you can get vairāgya also too. Good point. So it's messed up. So we always have to be careful that we keep that in mind. But like Dravida Prabhu was mentioning, in another sense, we could see the sweet rice, sand in the sweet rice from another angle of vision. Is that's how we get detachment. It means everything's all great, right? It means the sweet rice looks great, but if we find out there's sand in it, okay, we don't want it. Right? We don't want it. So similarly, that's how it is with knowledge. If we realize what the material world is and how it works, then we say, okay, well, we don't want to be involved. So that's the benefit of knowledge. Okay, does anybody have...
A very famous verse, vairāgya vijanita bhakti yoga shiksharta meka purushat purana. This is, of course, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, and that nija bhakti yoga shiksha artam, it's understood to mean, as far as I know, I looked up the translation, that of course he came to give devotion to himself, but what that means in the context there is that he came to give his devotion to Krishna. That's the thing. And the same thing is there in Arpada Chadim Shadat. In Arpada Chadim Shadat, that's the same idea, that he came to give the Ujjvala Rasa, the conjugal ras, which is his own devotion for Krishna.
So he came to serve Krishna. Okay. Any other question or comment? I had a question I was going to ask in the beginning of the class. Where's Tyler? And I was going to ask somebody, can you call Tyler? But now it's it's too late to call Tyler. We can still call him, but I can't call him for the class. So, all right. All right, any other? On Zoom, is there any? Okay. All right, so tomorrow is Thursday. It's Kadashi. Moggallila Prabhu will give the Bhagavatam class, and then Friday Ashram Maharaj will be here for about a week. So then he's going to go up to Laguna Beach for that post-Gaur Purnim festival. Yeah. So, yeah. Okay. All right, Grantaraj.
Krishna Prabhu, very nice class.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Prabhu, which Maharaj is coming?
His name's Ashram Maharaj.
I see. Thank you. Haribo.
Do you know Babru? He was Babru before?
No.
Oh, sure.
I think I met Maharaj. He came recent, like couple months ago.
I think it's like Bhakti Abai something. Bhakti Abai or Bhakti Abai Ashram Maharaj. Yeah, he's coming.
Okay, he'll be giving class tomorrow?
No, he's coming Friday.
Oh, Friday, okay.
Yeah.
And it's on YouTube and Zoom? Okay.
Yeah, he'll be giving classes, right? He'll be giving classes. That's his.
Thank you
That's his
so
service, right? We have to try to, engage him as much as possible. Okay.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hari Bol, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam.